So we have just watched the video showing us how they formed the formula for the volume of a sphere using the surface area of a sphere that we talked about yesterday. So the one thing that we have to remember with volume of a sphere, even though we're just using the formula that unfortunately we have to memorize and just sub numbers into this time, is that the only dimension we need is r. So keep in mind that if you have the sphere and they give you the length of the diameter, that we can easily find the radius by just, oh, I did that wrong, sorry. We can find the radius by dividing the diameter over 2. When we're working with the formula for volume of a sphere, we can write it in a few different ways. So you should have a look and decide which way you're most comfortable working with it. Most people are bothered by the fractions because we have the 4/3 pi r cubed, and a lot of people don't know what to do with the fractions. One thing I don't want you to do though is to change it into a decimal. If you change to 1.33, it's not going to give you an exact enough answer, so we need to keep the full value of the fraction. So another way to write this, if you don't like the 4/3, would be to write it as 4 times pi times r cubed all divided by 3. Or another way to write that would be 4 times pi times r cubed divided by 3. So they all mean the same thing, they're just a different way of writing it. Don't forget also that you can use your fractions button on your calculator, the ABC button, to put in the 4/3 into your formula, and that we're always going to approximate pi as 3.14. Let's try an example now finding the volume of a sphere. I don't know if you can see it, the writing is kind of small. They gave us the diameter in this diagram, and the diameter is 11.9 centimeters. So to convert that to the radius, we need to take that value and divide it by 2. And if we're approximating that and estimating the value before you get it on your calculator, we would do 12 divided by 2. So we're looking for an answer close to 6. So when we get 5.95 centimeters, we know that the right answer came from the calculator, 5.95. So let's use all of those decimal places in the radius. If it asks you to round off to 1 decimal place, we don't want to do that until the end of the question. So volume equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. In this case, 4 times 3.14 times 5.95 cubed divided by 3. When you're doing 5.95 cubed, the quick way to work out 5.95 cubed is to use your scientific calculator, and you're going to find a button that looks like this, x to the y. Some people's buttons look like this, y to the x. Most of the time it's going to be one of those two buttons, and so all you need to do is put in 5.95 and then use that button and then put a 3 for the exponent 3 equals, and you're going to end up with an answer close to 108 there. So seeing as I don't have a calculator here in front of me, can you go ahead and multiply everything out here, and I think you're going to get an answer in the 400s. And then you've got the volume of our sphere in centimeters cubed, because we multiplied one of the dimensions by itself 3 times. If you don't have a scientific calculator, you're going to have to use a regular calculator and multiply 5.95 times 5.95 times 5.95 equals, and that will also give you the answer that you're looking for. Now, example 2 is an interesting problem. We have an orange, and an orange is pretty much spherical in shape. Interesting fact, I don't know if you knew this or not, or why you would even want to, but you can actually predict the number of segments in an orange by looking at the very end. You know how there's that little green sort of plug at the end of the orange before you peel it? If you pull that out and you look closely inside, it's almost like a little belly button of the orange, and you count how many dots. That tells you how many segments you're going to have in your orange. Maybe you can bet somebody that you can predict that and win some money doing that trick. So let's get back to finding the volume of our orange. And more exactly, what we're actually being asked to find here is the volume of the orange half, not the whole orange. So we have to keep that in mind when we're using our formula, 4 pi r cubed over 3, to find the volume of our orange. We're working an imperial measure here that gave us 1.5 inches for the radius. And so if I only want half of the volume, I have to remember to divide my answer by 2, or I'll end up with twice the volume that they're asking for in the question. So if we fill in what we know, we have 4 times 3.14 times 1.5 cubed divided by 3, and then you can divide your answer by 2. And it doesn't matter what order you divide the 3 and the 2, you're going to get the same answer. If you want to be really quick, you can divide the whole thing by 6 instead of dividing by 3 and then 2. It's the same thing. So using your calculator again, your x to the y, your exponent button, we're going to have 1.5 to the exponent 3 this time, times 4 times 3.14, and then we're going to divide our complete answer by 3 and then by 2 or by 6. So go ahead and work that out and see what you get. If I've added that, if I've multiplied that up correctly, I think you get somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.9 inches cubed. Check that on your calculators. I just don't have a calculator here in front of me while I'm making this video, and see if your answer agrees. For the next 10 minutes, can you try question 1 on page 465? When you've had a chance to try that and check your answer in the back of the book and make sure that you understand how to do the volume of a sphere, can you ask your teacher to please press play on the next video for the last half of the lesson?